Hey guys, Toby Mathis here with Infinity Investing, and today we're going to be talking about Shiba. Let's jump in. All right, first off, what is Shiba? It's a coin, Shiba Inu, because they're making fun of Dogecoin. And basically, Dogecoin was making fun of all coins. Doge goes up hundreds of percent, Shiba's now going crazy. And what do these things all have in common? They don't have any value. It's just people driving them up. Almost like a thumb in the eye of the establishment. These people are diving into those cryptos. I don't tell them not to. In fact, I'm guilty. When I saw Shiba going up, I immediately said, this is going to spike. I bought some, went up 150%, sold it. I'm the bad ones. They call me, like, they always want you to be diamond hands. And I just let it go right through my hands. What is that called? Paper hands, right? I wasn't the person that was I was just kind of chuckling at it. And I did that with Doge too. I was just kind of chuckling at them. They're kind of fun. But I think that's what they're doing, is they're making light of the whole system. Will Shiba be around? I really don't think so. I think the two big companies that are going to be around in crypto, number one is going to be Bitcoin. Number two is going to be Ethereum. Everything else is kind of play. And sorry if you have those other coins, but I'm allowed to have my opinion too. And I'm not an expert on cryptos in any sense. What I do believe is that as far as universal acceptance, you're seeing more and more, whether it be municipalities, countries, institutions accepting Bitcoin than anything else, and Ethereum is right there with it. That's what I'm seeing. If you're a crypto expert, you might say, what about this? What about this? That's just what I'm seeing. And the folks that I work with, they tend to be very comfortable. Bitcoin, of course, is going to run out of coins in 2140. They have this difficulty equation. So you're at the miners, it becomes harder and harder to mine the coins. They get cut in half over a period of time, over and over and over again, so that the same amount of work you did 3 years ago to get 10, now you're getting 5 coins, and it's increasing its value. But there's a scarcity amount. We know there's going to be 21 million Bitcoin. A lot of them already lost. So there's going to be a scarcity element there. People are used to using the Bitcoin. I'm not as familiar with the Ethereum side. I don't know what's going to happen. But what I can say is that every time you see the Shiba, every time you see the Doge, people are having fun with it because they're realizing we can create crypto. The Fed is creating dollars every day. We're printing those things out constantly, and then it's boosting up its balance sheet, and we've seen inflation just go nuts. In fact, I was looking at the U.S. Labor Department, and in September of 2020, $1,000 bought you $1,000 of goods. Using that same $1,000 of purchase power, now it costs us $1,600 to do that same purchase. And now, to me, is sitting here in November of 2021. So we're talking about a year and 2 months later, you literally have about half the purchase power. Like, it's not quite that bad, I guess. It's 1,600 gets you 1,000 versus 1,000 to 1,000. So it's pretty bad. You had your money cut in half, at least. So I look at that and say, is that going to drive some of these people into crypto? Yeah. And all crypto is supply and demand. There's people that aren't going to sell it, that like buying all the coins, and they're just going to keep acquiring them. I don't know all the mining. I know that Shiba, you can mine like crazy, but it just doesn't have a lot of value, so it's not economically viable. Eventually, as these companies go up, maybe these coins do catch up, then people are going to start mining it and driving it back down because they're going to create more of it. So it's just one of those things. We see that with the blockchains. But definitely, for sure, there's a section of society that loves these things, is willing to go in there and drive them up. And I guess it's no different than anything, whether it be tennis shoes or movie tickets or art. We've seen some crazy stuff with the president's son, and the values there too. It's always supply and demand and what a willing buyer is willing to pay for something and what people can agree on a price. But there's no underlying value in these things, other than people saying, this is what I'm willing to pay you for that coin, and this is what they're willing to sell it. And that's capitalism at its finest. And it is earth-changing. Like, it's definitely changing the markets. It's freaking some people out, the people in the establishment that kind of want to have more, how would you say it, more security, more regulation around these things. They're freaking out, and they're trying to spread a little more regulation into these. You still see the SEC trying to figure out whether certain coins are securities or not. And you don't see a lot of direction being given. And if that one flew over your head, it means people are buying coins that represent something. I've seen coins being used for houses. So, hey, there's 2,000 coins for this house. So you're buying a coin for $50 or whatever, and you're getting a piece of a house. To me, that sounds like a share of a company, but the SEC would probably view that. But there's a lot of gray areas, and there's not a lot of regulations, not a lot of court going on. But that's still going. That's still driving this thing. So it's kind of the wild, wild west. So going back to Shiba, I don't know where it's going to be in a year. I can't see it being too valuable, but it sure is fun. And if you're a gambler and you're willing to risk something, by all means, go out there and play that game. It's no different than blackjack or roulette or anything else, but you're having fun with it. But be prepared to lose that, because just as quickly as it goes up, these things tend to come right back down. And then, of course, with your money that you can't afford to lose, make sure it's in good investments, stock market, rental real estate, cash flow real estate. Have some of it managed. Make sure you have enough emergency funds put aside. And if you're playing the coin game, just remember that it's in our 10% of cash or cash equivalents portion of our portfolio. Don't go above like 3% or 4% of your entire net worth. Make sure that if you are doing those things and you're like, this is how I make my living and things, just keep it as a small percentage of your net worth, even if that's what you're doing all day. We don't want to have a big, huge chunk, because those things tend to move pretty wildly. There's a lot of volatility in those coins. And that's it. Thanks, guys.